We are at Indian River State College for the 8th annual St. Lucie County Project Citizen District Showcase. Our students in 7th grade civics classes have been working all year long with their classmates to look at problems in their community, find policy out there, look at action steps in order to solve the problem, and come up with a plan. Each class has worked hard for this year, and these are the best projects that we have seen in our classrooms. We're going to take a look to see which ones are going to be sent off to the Tallahassee State Competition, and then a final round in May where they compete against other schools across our state.
My name is Brianna from Manatee Academy.
Mary Jimenez, Brianna Colucci, Katiana LeBlanc.
The problem that we're working on is that pickup trucks, people like to ride in the back of a pickup truck, and sometimes they crash and people could die or get injured really easily. And so we're trying to figure out a way to solve that problem and find solutions to everything.
The solution that we're trying to do is to make seatbelts, or at least not have anyone at all ride in the back of the pickup truck, or at least 18 or older, and only emergency use.
So basically, the way to fix the problem is not sitting in the back of the pickup truck at all, because if younger than 18, you could get seriously injured or even killed.
The action plan that we have is to get the problem out there, is to talk to a representative or a governor so they could enforce the problem or make it even be a law. So we are going to get the government support, local support, and community support by talking to the community and talking to a representative in person so that they could enforce the law.
Hi, I'm Sterling Carr. We're from Northport.
I'm Laura Guarino.
I'm Jesus Gonzalez.
I'm Heather Canales. Our problem is that school food doesn't taste good at all, and I know a lot of people can relate to that. It isn't because it isn't unhealthy, it's actually very healthy to the extent that it takes away all the flavor. So we came up with lots of different ways to make school food better.
For our alternative policies, we decided that more staff, more choices, and more spices would help the cafeteria food taste better and more people would eat from it. And if we had more staff, which would cost approximately $11,000 a year for each staff member, the food would be faster prepared and served for the students, which we got that information from our head cafeteria staff member, Miss Yates. And if we had more spices, like salt and pepper packets, then the food would taste better and have more flavor. And more choices, some people don't like the pizza or the burgers in our school, and if we had more choices, some people would find different food that they liked instead of the things that we already serve.
Our proposed policy serves the following purposes of government: protecting the people from harm. If people are hired, it leaves less room for error in food, and the cafeteria will be cleaner from extra help. 2, in this job, you will have all the rights you normally would have. You will be able to express yourself freely and will not be oppressed. You will not be exploited in any way, and your privacy will not be violated. There is no discrimination in this job and should be none. Our public policy does not interfere with someone's freedom or beliefs. The evidence for this is because of the First Amendment prohibits them from doing so. Our public policy will not affect the rights because of this job. Because in this job, people will be kind to help with hygiene of the cafeteria and help to make healthy food.
During the last couple of months, we took the liberty to figure out a problem in our school, which we chose school meals. We searched up the policy for school meals. We asked as many people in our school what their perspective on the lunch meals. The majority have said they think it's disgusting and think the school has to change it. We came up with some alternative policies. More staff, more seasoning, and more food choices. We plan to suggest these to the state legislator.
I'm Madison Dewey.
I'm Kayla Prophet.
I'm Jalissa Topping.
And I'm Joanne Flurgis, and we're from the school Okamic. We decided to do our project on drunk driving. Drunk driving is a major problem in the U.S. that happens all over. It causes more than 10,000 deaths per year, which is one death every 51 minutes or one injury every 2 minutes. And not only the driver is affected, but also others that have been in the crash and their families are being affected from this as well. Insurance companies are also being affected because they're the ones that have to pay for the damage that the crashes cause. This actually happened a few weeks ago in Port St. Lucie, where a young woman that Madison actually knows personally got killed from a drunk driver. So our new policy will reduce the frequency of these type of things happening. Now on to Jalissa with the existing policies.
According to the Florida statutes, it states that it's illegal if someone drives a vehicle or any sort of transportation while impaired. If so, they are punishable under Law 318.18. There is no current law that states that there is no driver that's allowed to get in the car while impaired and drive by themselves. Now to Kayla Prophet with new policy.
Our new policy is that all cars starting in 2030 will have an ignition interlock device installed in them, which means that they will have a personalized, accessible breathalyzer test put over their steering wheel. The driver will take a deep breath and blow out, and it will count their blood alcohol count. If it's 0.08 or higher, the car won't start. This will stop drunk drivers from even being able to get behind the wheel. As Jalissa said, there are no existing policies that already stop drivers from doing it. It just gives them penalties after they do the actions. Now to Madison Dewey with the action plan.
Our plan is to speak with local congressmen and then propose this bill to our state senators. If they propose this bill to Congress, we hope that it will be voted and approved in both houses, signed by the president, and found constitutional in the judicial branch.
My name is Wynisha Tucson. I go to Lincoln Park Academy.
My name is Grishna Joseph. I go to Lincoln Park Academy.
Anaya Gustin, Lincoln Park Academy.
Altony Francois, Lincoln Park Academy.
So the problem my class went to study was the opioid problem that has been occurring lately in our community. Opioids are drugs that bind receptors to the brain, spinal cord, and other areas in the body. Although this drug is meant to relieve pain, it can become very addicting, which can lead to many casualties. According to the TC Palm website, poisoning deaths in Martin County roughly tripled from 2014 to 2016, going from 25% to 88% in St. Lucie County, in Martin County, and 35% to 103% in St. Lucie County. This shows that the death rate by opioids has dramatically increased. One reason as to why we believe opioids are becoming an increasing problem is, for example, a famous person, like the rapper Lil Peep and the singer Prince. Both have recently died from overdosing. Many rappers and singers similar to them rap about opioids in their songs and makes it popular. Some rappers and singers rap about lean in their songs. Lean, which is a mixture of Sprite, Jolly Ranchers, and contains fentanyl. According to the TC Palm website, the opioid problem has reached epidemic proportions on the Treasure Coast. Some disagreements would be that certain people believe that the opioid crisis is not a problem. But we as students believe the opioid crisis is a problem and will continue to be a problem if the government won't put an effort in to fix it.
Our first alternative policy is to restrict the process of obtaining opioids by making individuals go through a process that will have a series of questions. This will be a benefit because it will make it more difficult to get opioids to abuse them. The disadvantage would be that if someone is in desperate need, it might take them a while to go through the process. The next alternative is to make programs to stop the addictions. It would let people know that it is okay to seek help. The advantage would be people people can become sober and have a better life. This would be a disadvantage because insurance wouldn't cover it. The last alternative is to make ads that would be published on TV billboards. This will help teens and adults because they will understand that drugs are no joke. The controversies for the restriction is that pharmacists would think they are being criticized. The next controversy would be that insurance wouldn't cover the program. The last controversy is that parents wouldn't want their kids to be exposed to the drugs if they do not already know about them.
The opiate crisis is very complex. There are two main groups of people who are affected by the opiate epidemic: young people and people with chronic pain. The first part of our policy is to target young people by creating PSAs, public service announcements, and removing pill mills. Pill mills where doctors prescribe pills or drugs to anyone, no questions asked. Some advantages of creating a PSA would be to increase visual and other kinds of awareness of the damage these drugs could leave in our body. A disadvantage would be that some parents may see PSAs as ways of exposing their children to these drugs. On the other hand, there are no negative impact of removing pill mills except for the opiate addicts from their view. An advantage of removing pill mills would be that it would be able to stop young people, or any person for that matter, having easier access to these pills. The second part of our policy is to help people with chronic pain rely on another alternative than prescribed drugs and pills. Alternatives like meditation, physical therapy, exercise, and acupuncture. Advantages of these alternatives would be that people with chronic pain wouldn't be left with side effects from these pills and won't cause even more pain. A disadvantage would be that insurance companies most likely may not cover the payment for these people with chronic pain. The government responsible for these policies would be the executive branch, and the agency responsible is the Florida Health Department through Treasure Coast. These policies are constitutional, nor do they violate the Florida or U.S. Constitution.
Our class saw that opioid use was a problem in Treasure Coast, so we came up with a solution to fix this problem. From our research, we discovered that opioid problem needs more than one solution to solve it. Our first action plan will contribute towards younger people. We could target young people who use opioids by creating PSAs, like truth advertisements for tobacco. PSAs send a message to the public's interest without charge, changing the public's attitude and behavior towards a social issue. One of the first ways to create one is by researching and planning your topic. Our second action plan would point towards people who deal with a chronic pain. People with chronic pain usually get prescribed opioids, which are addictive, instead of getting another solution to solve it. We would work with the Florida Department of Health to make things like acupuncture accessible and to see if doctors can prescribe these alternative pain medications. Finally, closing pill mills by educating the public about them would prevent many unnecessary tragic events that could happen if pill mills kept becoming more popular to the public's eye. We could create a hotline that would give tips to cops or police. This is the best way that we could think of solving this problem.
It's been a real exciting experience today to be part of the Project Citizen group. I've had the honor of judging, and so far I've judged 5 of the 6 exhibits that have been assigned to me, and it is astounding to me how the children, I shouldn't say children, young men and young women, have been able to take what they're passionate about and make it a real community activism part of their life. One that was really impressive in this day of mental health needs and the awareness was a project on suicide awareness and how we all need to put policies in place that will enlighten parents, teachers, people in the community to become more aware of recognizing suicide awareness techniques so that we can hopefully make a dent in that problem. Another one was food deserts, which was really interesting to hear the kids respond to how, I didn't really realize this was a problem, but it is. And the more we researched it, I found this and I found that. And how sometimes transportation can be an issue for getting to the proper food products and that sort of thing. So they really took a passion and made it about how we can work together as a community, how we can rally our public officials from school board right on up to our congressmen and women and even the President of the United States to let them know issues are important at a community level, but sometimes we need involvement from our state and national figures as well. But it's heartwarming to me to see how these young men and young women are recognizing the problems that are in their local communities, and whether it impacts them personally or not, they're taking a stand for those issues and wanting to do better. So I have great confidence that multiple projects from today will go forward to the state level, and the impact will be phenomenal.
You know, when I came into this, I don't know what I was looking for or what to expect, but when I came in, everything from Lake Okeechobee issues to issues that are in our prisons to local issues of a food desert, which I learned that we have in our own community. So it's amazing what I've seen that is right here in our backyard, and the work that these students have done in their research and displays is just absolutely amazing. I have to say I'm just blown away by the students' presentations so far, and I'm not even done yet.
Hi, I'm T.A. Weiner, one of the co-founders of the local chapter of the American Civil Liberties Union, and it has been too many years since we have been participants in this great event, especially now that for the last 8 years it's now Project Citizen, which we're very excited about. So this year our board of directors has decided that we will again present a $100 award to the project that best exemplifies the rights that we have in America. And I see a lot of that today. I'm very impressed. These are 7th graders. I'm very impressed with just being able to get a display board together, let alone the backup research that goes along with it. And the topics are pretty interesting, all very hot and topical. And everything I've seen has been great. Their demeanor, their presentation, and then I have to say the teachers, because we know this doesn't happen with a lot of teachers' enthusiasm and encouragement. And then the school district itself, which I think is a great one. I love our school board. We're very impressed with it. Anytime that the ACLU has presented anything or challenged anything with this school board, we have had a great friendly relationship with the school board that recognizes the rights even of our students. And I think that shows in this event today.
And my name is Lucie from Manatee Academy.
I'm Adrienne Saldivar.
I'm Keani Pryor.
I'm Layla Alette.
What do a toddler, a medium-sized dog, and a car tire all have in common? They weigh 20 pounds, and 20 pounds is all it took for a 6th grade student to plunge to their death due to the heavy weight. Unbelievable, right? Well, it actually happened twice. Our project focuses on issues that affect students all around St. Lucie County. Excessive bag weight can cause issues such as neck and back pain. According to the journal Archives of Disease in Childhood, 60% of students 12 through 17 carry backpacks that are 10% of their body weight, while 20% of students carry 15% or more of their body weight. Backpack weight can start off as a minor issue and then escalate into a major health problem. Out of 465 student surveys at Manatee Academy, 53% of students stated they suffer from neck, back, knee, and shoulder pain. Out of 60% of students, also, 6% of students carry additional items with them, such as lunchboxes, instruments, and gym bags. Those items contribute with the excessive weight. After speaking with Mr. Ingersoll from St. Lucie County School Board, the district has no policies limiting backpack weight. However, it is the school board's obligation to make sure that students are protected and healthy during school.
An alternative policy our group proposes is to implement tablets in school. We would purchase the Amazon Fire tablet at a reasonable price of $80 per student. Advantages to this policy are tablets can replace the use of textbooks, which will help save schools money, and some studies show how technology can improve student achievement in the classroom. A disadvantage to this policy are purchasing and replacing tablets can be very expensive. Another alternative policy our group proposes is to put lockers in the pods of our schools. The lockers can easily be placed up against the wall, so no installation is needed. An advantage to this policy is Students will be more organized and will no longer have to carry all of their supplies. Disadvantages are the upkeep and the possibility of students bringing in drugs and weapons to school.
Reducing the weight of heavy book bags is the most efficient way to solving the problem of excessive book bag weight. Our policy is district-wide and students will not be able to carry book bags heavier than 10 pounds. We obtain this amount by looking at the average weight of middle school students and finding 10% of their body weight. If the book bag, each school will be provided with a scale and students will weigh book bags with adult supervision. If the book bag exceeds the suggested book bag weight, a notice letter will be sent home to parents informing them about the school's new policy and asking them and their child to comply. Our policy is being used in other states and countries. California and states within India have banned students from carrying heavy book bags and also restricted textbooks over a certain weight. Advantages for this policy are lowering the number of students with bags in distress. Students will not have to worry about back pains in the future, and most importantly, parents will not have to stress over the risk of their child developing a serious medical condition. Disadvantages to our policy would be the amount of time taken away from class trying to weigh everyone's book bags. Additionally, students may not comply with the policy or put forth any effort trying to reduce the weight of their book bag. The level of government that will be responsible for carrying out our policy is the School Board of St. Lucie County. The school board is responsible for resolving this issue because it concerns their primary focus, keeping students safe. This policy is constitutional because it does not place unreasonable limits on anyone's rights. Per Florida statute, the school district is accountable for the health of all students.
The main purpose of our action plan is to pass a policy about limiting book bag weight to no more than 10 pounds in St. Lucie County schools. While we understand that it is the student's responsibility to empty their book bags, it is also the school's responsibility to protect student health. To have our policy gain district approval, we must follow the specific steps laid out by the St. Lucie County School Board. First, the superintendent must tell the board about a new rule. At a meeting, district staff can add comments and concerns about the proposed policy. Individuals in the community can file a request to oppose the policy. Finally, once the board adopts the new rule, it will become effective district-wide. While there are some advantages in individuals who support our policy, such as PTO President Janelle Satoran, the National Safety Council, and the American Chiropractic Association, there are some disadvantages. Teachers and parents might disagree with our policy because it may be time-consuming, thus limiting classroom time. Also, it may be hard to regulate book bag weight due to the large student population. Overall, we believe that implementing a mandatory book bag weight in St. Lucie County schools is the best solution to solve the problem of heavy book bags.
Hi, my name is Chloe Jarowski.
Hi, my name is Abigail Rinker.
Hi, my name is Leah Manning.
Hi, my name is Sage Holmes, and we're from Palm Point. Our problem is smoking. About half of Americans who keep smoking will die because of the habit. Smoking leads to death, health risks, and cancer. Smoking can damage almost every organ in your body. On average, somebody who smokes will most likely die 13 to 14 years before somebody who doesn't smoke. Since 1964, there have been well over 12 million tobacco-related deaths. There are about 10 different cancers that you can receive from smoking: stomach cancer, mouth cancer, lung cancer, voice box, throat, esophagus, bladder, kidney, uterus, and cancer of the cervix. Tobacco-related deaths kill more people than AIDS, alcohol, car accidents, murders, suicides, drugs, and fires. That's a problem.
We believe that smoking is very harmful for us, and some of the laws and policies that we looked at prevent children from smoking in the future, help people quit smoking, and reduce the harmful impact it has on smokers and secondhand smoking. People that don't smoke live a happier and healthier life, and people that do smoke are more likely to get cancer. We realize that 28 states put a ban, and 10 states did not put any ban in place with smoking. If we put a stop to this, smokers can end up living a happier and healthier life.
Smoking in Florida is a major problem. We chose to make a law. When anyone breaks this law, there will be a series of consequences. First, they will go on a rehab-type course where a package will be sent to their residence full of smoking preventatives, such as nicotine gum and nicotine patches. Along with the package will be weekly checkups, and as they improve, the checkups will vary from weekly to monthly. Our action plan would make smoking tobacco illegal in most public places. This action would stop direct smoking and even secondhand smoking, especially to minors. This plan would also stop diseases such as lung cancer and cardiovascular diseases. As stated in the action plan summary, making Florida a non-smoking state will help stop addiction that causes diseases or even death. According to taking out a replacement campaign, Big Tobacco is losing some of its customers. Every year, more and more tobacco users are quitting. Every day, more than 1,000 1,200 people in the U.S. die of smoking.
Hello, I am Charles Darty, and we are from Northport K through 8.
Hello, my name is Fabian.
Hi, my name is John Reardon.
I'm Brianna Greer.
Our project focuses on the lack of sidewalks throughout Port St. Lucie, Florida. We went through the sidewalk master plan, and we found that only 2 of the 9 projects for the sidewalk master plan have been started, and we want to increase that number. We want more sidewalks throughout Port St. Lucie. So we have made our alternative policies.
Our alternative policy is safe routes. Basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to bring more sidewalks to Curtis, because it's like, since there hasn't been many sidewalks, it's been very dangerous for some kids. For example, somebody, like 2 people recently, well, this year, got hit by a car. So if we have sidewalks, they won't have to be so close to the street.
Okay, our action plan is to choose a street that puts sidewalks, which would be a good target. We chose Curtis because it's closest to our school. Then we typed a letter to Marty Saunders to get Northport K-3 back on Safe Routes to School programs grant. Then we asked Miss Edith Majeski to come to our class and talk to us. Then we interviewed Mr. Rusted, our principal, to contribute how we contribute to Safe Routes to School. Then we contacted Miss Edie Majeski to talk about our new plan.
We believe our proposed policy supports the idea of adding needed sidewalks to areas without them. Our policy does not violate any amendments in the Constitution, and our policy allows people to safely travel and provide sidewalks by main roads and school zones.
Hello, my name is Kyle Fabrius.
My name is Philip Bergman, and I'm from Lincoln Park Academy.
My name is Kirby Bazalius.
My name is Luke Ritudo, and I'm from Lincoln Park Academy.
We are from Lincoln Park Academy, and we are here to talk to you about a serious problem in our city of Fort Pierce: food deserts. A food desert can be defined as a part of the country with minimal amount of fresh vegetables and fruits. This is due to a lack of supermarkets and farmers markets. Before moving, my family and I lived in a food desert in Fort Pierce. Since my family is fortunate enough to have access to a vehicle, fresh food has never been a problem for me. However, stores within our immediate walking distance were fast food chains and convenience stores. According to the USDA, zip codes 34947 and 34950 are low vehicle access areas, a leading problem in food deserts. Since without a vehicle, families are not able to go far distances to supermarkets. People would say food deserts are not a problem in our city, as there are many stores around this area. However, these stores rarely sell or advertise healthy foods. Furthermore, we interviewed a resident of Fort Pierce. This resident believes that food deserts are not a problem and that food deserts can be prevented by citizens growing their own food. The government should be involved in solving this problem of food deserts because the poverty rate of Fort Pierce is 36.6%, meaning 1/3 of Fort Pierce can possibly not afford vehicles to drive to grocery stores close to their area, forcing them to go to convenience stores and buying junk food.
3 ways that our class came up with to prevent food deserts are as follows: building supermarkets in areas of need, making mobile food markets or food trucks, and requiring convenience stores to sell fresh and healthy fruits and vegetables. Our first policy idea was to build more supermarkets in these areas of need, which would bring the obvious advantage of bringing food closer to people that don't have cars to drive out to these grocery stores and supermarkets. But the disadvantages of the price, the cost that it makes the cost to build these, and the time that it takes to build these are all disadvantages that outweigh the one advantage. Now, our second policy was making food trucks with vegetables drive around kind of like an ice cream truck or a bookmobile, and this would bring the obvious advantage of bringing food closer, but the disadvantages of startup costs and the possible rise of taxes to keep these trucks on the road are disadvantages that outweigh the advantages, as well as the fact that people might not be home, they might be at work, or they might not know where this food truck would be at what times. Now, our third policy would be requiring convenience stores in these areas to sell fresh and healthy fruits and vegetables, which would combat the problem of food deserts at its source, these convenience stores, which promote their unhealthy bags of chips and soft drinks instead of apples and carrots and whatnot, those healthier foods. Unfortunately, sometimes it's hard to get food to these places, which makes people not able to have access to this. Now, putting food in these convenience stores and supermarkets would bring the food to the people, in which they could buy while going by their normal schedule. Now, the disadvantages would be the managers not agreeing with this policy, saying that you can't force the store to sell something, as well as the fact that people could still buy unhealthy food.
Our proposed class policy for solving this problem is to require stores to sell healthy foods by proposing an ordinance to the city of Fort Pierce. For example, a city in West Virginia asked a convenience store to sell fresh produce, and the store sold these items successfully. The disadvantages of this policy are that healthy food will be more available to people and healthy food will be more affordable. For example, we surveyed local convenience stores, and many of the stores agreed that selling fresh produce was a good idea. They also agreed that it is hard to obtain fresh produce. The disadvantage to this policy is that suppliers will be reluctant to adhere to this policy, as unhealthy food provides more money. The level of government responsible for carrying out this policy is the local government. The mayor, who is part of the local government, is a part of ordinance making. This policy does not violate the United States Constitution or the Florida Constitution because food is a basic human right.
The main activities of our plan, based on our policy, is to first contact municipal convenience stores, do more in-depth research, and gain information about convenience stores. After gaining a sufficient amount of information, we would then draft the public ordinance regarding the new regulations on convenience store food products. Then our next step would be to meet with convenience store managing committees who will organize the most easy, most accessible, and cost-efficient route to ship healthy foods to convenience stores in food desert and low-income areas. Food will also be sent to farmers market establishments that would be positioned in low food access areas. Our plan would be funded by bill proposals issued to the government, which would have a benefit toward convenience stores and would be then approved by the government. Most convenience stores lack healthy foods and only provide a few certain services that are often unhealthy or malnourishing. This also exemplifies that this plan can let individuals gain nutritious food from convenience stores nearby without having access to a vehicle. Influential individuals and groups who might be willing to support our policy are representatives in the government, local food bank, and charity organizations who support and work towards sustainable and accessible solutions to the local food desert issue. Analogous to those, these individuals include employees and officers of organizations such as Judith Cruz, the CEO of the Treasure Coast Food Bank. Furthermore, these also include those who most likely support existing initiatives and policies that provide funding to low-income areas, for example, Larry Lee Jr. To win their support, we could emphasize how this policy can lead to an improvement by providing evidence that this policy has been successful in another low-income area, as well as inform them of the impedance of malnourishment from the absence of healthy food in convenience stores. Influential individuals, government agencies, and groups who might oppose this policy are representatives who do not believe that convenience stores should change their policies, and those who manage convenience stores and do not approve the potentially large amount of funding and taxation needed to supply healthy food to convenience stores. These include convenience store business owners and government boards. We might win some support from these individuals and groups by providing a way to implement numerous food bank organizations, which will make supplying nourishing foods with greater attainability to convenience stores. Accordingly, this plan will be an advantage for individuals with health problems associated with food deserts, especially obesity, and will encourage a healthier lifestyle and healthier eating habits, since they can help maintain a healthy weight mindset and can be practiced with other healthy habits, such as physical exercise. To conclude, we believe that food deserts are a significant issue in our community. The food desert problem can be difficult to solve and predominantly affects the majority of Fort Pierce. We recognize the challenges and difficulties in attempting to solve this problem and are confident that our policy can have a positive effect in our city's low-income areas.
Today we saw 21 different projects from the students of St. Lucie County. We're going to be sending our top 3 projects to Tallahassee for our legislators to take a look at, and then we will hear which ones are going to go on to their state finals in May. Our students have been working really hard across our district, and we were able to see our top projects today, and we will send those top 3 in a few weeks, and we will let the kids know today who's in the top 3, but the final announcement will be made on the 28th.